their boats. We buy them what we call the flat bottom boats, which can be able to move into the creek to help to do police this thing. We help to service the gunboats. We provide for all of this. But no governor in this country has a right to call any of the security agencies to work. Because you can't even give order. I won't use the word order. When you seek the assistance, they will first of all seek the assistance of their superior officers in Abuja, seek the permission of the superior officer in Abuja before they will even give you that assistance, especially when it gets involved with these issues that some cabals are involved, because even for them in the states, they don't know who is involved on top.
In fact, we heard people say that some of these motor vessels, you see them there, they are waiting for the Cotonou boats to come in, and then everybody sees this in the open. Some people say they know the owners of some of those motor vessels.
Fine. So what happened? Are you going to, hold a state governor for not going to arrest and prosecute them? The state governor, like the governor cannot say, oh, SSG, move men to the creeks or move men to the river to police this thing. You can't do that. You can only hold your security council meeting, which we hold from time to time, and plead with them. Please, this report, this country is dying, see what you can do. And it's okay, Your Excellency, this is the type of thing we need if we must help you to do this. And you provide for them. That's the most you can do.
I recall that your governor, Dr. Odwaha, said, some days ago that himself and Governor Akpabio have been mandated to head that particular committee. And they were then to meet with some of these oil majors concerning a particular pipeline that has been shut down. Yeah. So has it been fixed? Has it been repaired?
No, you see, repairing pipeline is not that is not as quick, not that an easy thing, because it's a highly technical thing. The governors will only facilitate to make it fast.
How much of complaint do you normally get from the oil majors when it comes to vandalizing their pipelines? How frequent do you get such?
It's not really too frequent, but occasionally they make such reports. What is frequent from the side is when they have problem with the communities. That again is a point. By the way,
the communities,
when they have community issues that are quick to run to us.
Are they helpful in this regard in trying to help watch over such facilities, the communities?
Well, the question is whether they are involved. If they are not involved, of course, no man will just wake up in the morning instead of going about his normal daily routine on how to put food on his table. He will go to the creeks and go to the forest to start watching which pipe has been vandalized or not.
One of the things that this definitely raises is environmental pollution, because much as yes, we as a country have to deal with a shortfall in revenue, your state suffers the immediate impact of the activities of these vandals. What exactly are you doing to mitigate that? How have you handled that?
You see, all the issues we are raising, or whatever issue has to do with oil, is on the exclusive legislative list. You recall that my governor is the only African, I think, who is on the R20 list fighting for the green environment, along with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's doing this because he has taken the issue of the pollution of the Delta waters even to their head office, to Chevron head office in the US, and he has complained because they need to clean the waters. There is no state government, even if he has to keep all his budget for the next 8 years that the governor is in office, first and second tenure, for the purpose of cleaning the waters, that can achieve it.
That's the pollution caused by the oil majors.
Both.
What about the pollution caused by vandals?
How do you differentiate?
Do the oil companies have to take
the
care of
oil
that
came from the oil majors to pollute the water and the oil that came from the vandals to pollute the water? It's all pollution.
What about
a result of the activities of oil exploration?
If they were to take another perspective, because locally this is huge and it may not go away if they don't deploy or do something drastic, because it's gone very, very deep now. Starting from the foreign perspective, because, I mean, time and again, the federal government goes to international community saying they shouldn't buy stolen crude. That's one angle. But you talk about even African communities. They steal this and even take it to African communities as well?
Yes.
So what's wrong with if we begin to explore options of some sort of economic ties or sanctions, or try to tweet some countries in Africa not to buy stolen crude from Nigeria? Have we tried that option?
I don't think until of recent that the country has really started crying loud because our economy is dwindling on a daily basis. Nobody was really talking much about this. Like I said, we are starting this fight at the 11th hour. We've gone too far. We've allowed these people to go so far. And the only way to go it now is to be very, very drastic. Yes, I agree the Navy is charged with the responsibility of policing our waters. But now we need the assistance of the Air Force. If the Navy is on the water, the Air Force is on air, and you goddamn vessel there, if you don't move, we're going to sink you from the air.
So aerial patrol.
Fine. So where the Navy fails, the Air Force takes over. And when the Air Force occasionally, I read some of the people where they say they don't have the endurance, it is just a technical jargon to deceive people. I come here, I tell you we don't have the endurance. What is the endurance? When ordinarily you are meant to fly from here to another country, if we have a crisis with them, drop your bomb and come back. So what endurance don't you have to be able to walk within the waters?
Okay, give them the endurance.
So if you don't have the endurance, that's why I said, let's equip them. What I'm talking about there is the quantity of fuel. So if you can have a fuel to fly from here to another country, why don't you have enough to fly within that country? But I think it's an institutional problem. Apparently they feel, oh, our work is on air. Our work is not on water. Let those who have the work on water do their work. And I know that most of the naval helicopters are no longer functioning. Then again, I must continue talking about the determination. If I'm leading a group, and me that's leading the group, I'm determined to succeed. When I look at my back, I will see people behind me. But if I'm not determined, if I just want to make the statement and clear the one, let my subordinates go and face the music, we may not succeed. So, today we have the JTF in the Niger Delta. Let's equip them with enough flatboats so that they can move into any creek, no matter how shallow it is. Because you see, before you talk of going to talk to the man in another country, don't buy my crude. What have you done to stop your own people or the people bringing the crude from your country to that country to sell? We must start from the fight here. So we must equip the Navy, we must equip the Air Force. If they say the aircrafts don't have enough endurance, give them the ones with endurance. Because I believe that if we save just 10 to 15% of the amount of crude that is stolen daily, if we save the cost of 10 to 15%, it's enough to equip whether the army, the police, and the Navy to fight this fight for us. And I don't forget motivation on anything you do. Because that motivation that makes the worker to take the extra mile. You must motivate anybody you are sending to such a war front. Because it's not an ordinary post you are sending that person to.
It's actually a war front.
It's a war front. So the person must have a motivation for doing it.
Especially hot tapping. You know, it takes months for them to sink their pipes into these pipelines, and this is huge. And yet, but this international perspective, how far do you see us going with it? You think they will listen? Because, I mean, they say, who would you put honey in his mouth and he'll spit it out?
You see, just like you have people with criminal minds in Nigeria, you have them all over the world. In other words, we are giving these countries a challenge to also work on their criminals. And like you have your cabal in your country that you've not been able to curb, they also have theirs as cabals. So for me, yes, it's good. We are not crying out to the whole world. Go to the European nation, please don't buy illegally exported crude, don't do this, don't do that. But I still strongly believe that the battle has to start from home here. Those countries should see us as doing something. Should see us as prosecuting the offenders. Should see us as really fighting this battle headlong. How many boats have we sunk in the Nigerian waters? How many of even the Cotonou boats have we arrested and destroyed? The most we are doing is to destroy the illegal refineries.
By the way, what's your take on that? When we talk about illegal refineries, recently we had a chat with some couple of Nigerians who believe that they can actually, co-opt these people into a more legal means of refining products back home instead of just the way they once called the local gene illicit gene. And today that can actually compete with some of the best genes in the world. So they say we can as well co-opt these people and make it legal instead of calling them illegal refineries.
I think I buy that idea. I buy that idea because this is a technology that we can develop. Today, one of the reasons why this market is thriving is because we don't have enough refineries. And so some of these companies buy from these people who are refining illegally. Because if you don't have a market, you won't do it. It's because they have the market, hence they are doing it. So if they come together, they can be encouraged to come together into cooperatives. And government can give them the necessary assistance to improve on their technology. By that, you'll be employing more people. Then two, because it is now legal, they will no longer be stealing. Then they can buy the crude from governments, and you now know the amount of crude they're buying, and so you sell to them. So, and this issue of pollution arising from that aspect of bunkering will be stopped, because they will now be doing it neatly. It was okay, this week we want X volume of crude to refine, and the government will sell to them. They will pay for it, they will refine, they will employ people, they will sell normally, you creating employment. Because our destroying them, I can tell you that both the JTF and the Navy in Delta State, they destroy them on a weekly basis. What you see, it is very easy to set up. This studio is too big to set up one. So you can set up to 3 within this studio. So even as you destroy this week, go there in another 2-3 weeks, they've installed again.
Wow.
So for me, destroying them is not the answer. But again, that will not give us the solution to the issue of the huge volume of oil theft, because the quantity these boys are using is very minute.
Well, that's how far we can go today, even though subsequently, of course, time and again, we may be required to look at this matter. Losing 400,000 barrels per day, that's what we hear. That's a lot. Well, thank you for coming on. Ovuozorie Macauley is the Secretary to the State Government in Delta State. And we've been talking about curbing crude oil theft. We'll return in a moment. Please join us again.